know, Tammy gave me this little microphone, but why would she have given me this? Is this for?
That's a USB microphone,
Is
maybe.
that for Joel
is
here? Is that for you?
Yes, that's
to
for
hear?
Joel. But there could be one on this, maybe there isn't. If there's a camera, there's usually an onboard one.
Oh yeah, because we do Zoom with these, but
It might be,
I wonder if it. I told Tammy that what we would need is to be able to project Joel, not us project to Joel.
you need a speaker.
Yeah.
I don't have anything. Not with me.
I could download.
But if he turns that up pretty loud, you might be surprised.
We'd
at
be
how
able to hear
loud
Joel
those
all
are.
right.
Yeah. What we need to buy is a little USB omnidirectional one. Some of them get so sensitive you could whisper out in the hall and you'd hear it. This, I'm surprised at how well that works.
It is 5:32, so I can start this meeting and then we'll see if Joel come on. I said it so Joel could come on anytime between now and 6 because I didn't want him to wait.
Got 2 people already watching.
Logged on early.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it. It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's...
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Ox Ranch.
From everyone here at Odden Charlet.
And on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch.
From our family to yours.
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
Thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
Is Lori gonna be here?
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Knox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
And on behalf of
Test, 1, 2, test, 1, 2.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
Ruby has Hot Springs doing this now.
on behalf of Mason Knox Ranch.
From everyone here at Odden
And on behalf
going
of the
on
Scattered Star Ranch.
From our family to yours.
From the
Hot
Philip community.
Springs.tv or whatever they call her,
Thank you.
I would like to thank you.
with the same guy you're with.
Thank you for choosing beef.
Oh, the whole camera stuff.
Yeah.
It seems around here
Kind of
every
felt sorry
town is
for
a
Red
sports
Field.
town. And why
They
not?
bought the system,
Sports were
that
important to
Pixel-Lot
us
system.
growing up, and we want the same for our
That
kids.
now they're giving
To
away
get
for
involved,
free.
to
Yeah.
compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
Well, when everything goes good, we're set up early.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Knox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
And on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch.
From our family to yours.
From the Philip community, I just want to say thank you. We thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumer.
Thank you for
Special
choosing
needs
beef.
son.
thank you for choosing beef.
If Joel happened to be the 0.1% that died, I'd probably take Roger with.
Why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete.
You know,
because
I
that's
don't
how
think it's gonna be
kids
long,
learn to
and
lead.
unfortunately,
And
we
why
probably
Farmers
will.
Union Insurance
We'll also
supports
reimburse
these
you.
programs.
Oh, yeah.
They know sports aren't just about
not
building
gonna survive.
skill and strength,
That's a scary
but about
thought, but-
building character.
But they die from the
Insurance.
flu, they die
don't
from,
protect our community.
my God, a guy's driving down the road and hit the blade of a silage cutter.
Yeah. There's been a lot of accidents in South Dakota.
Yes, there
Like
has.
the last 2-3 weekends where there's just been a lot of deaths.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention...
Test, 1, 2, 3, test, 1, 2, 3.
At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more for your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury when you're facing physical challenges.
Oh, I heard that. Well, I can just do that. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3.
Physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible.
Oh, why? I
We will
turned the
focus on your
microphone
recovery
off.
so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment,
I hope I sent Joel that link. I have a couple of drafts in here.
at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make
I could focus in on.
We're live.
If he's talking. I can zoom in on.
Is he on there yet?
Don't see him yet.
Get his big head in there. You probably heard that.
He should show up here as soon as he does that.
We got about 30 seconds, see if he pops on there. Aaron's.
Did it work?
Yes. COVID, that's why it's not here.
Joel says he can't get on.
And he has the site, right?
I'm gonna back
Yeah, I
away.
gave him the. Call Joe Shoemaker.
Speakerphone him in too if we have to.
Not be able to get on, huh? Does it ask for a password or anything, or?
Do you have an internet? So you talk to Travis much? Probably an hour. Do you, I mean, back in the day, run anything pretty often?
Yeah, we just click on the link.
He helped with our.
And then as soon as you do that, you would show up on our
List of
invite
the
list and then
robotics
we
team. Came down
would
to
just
the hill.
accept you.
Kind of a chaperone. Done at Brookings and then
Unless we.
his
get
kids were
somebody
really
else
active in
that
track and I was coaching track, so stuff's there.
No, I don't
His
have
daughter.
that. His youngest daughter, she moved like
I could
Fresh
make
grade?
that creative.
Eighth grade?
Charlie. Okay. And then Landon's a junior.
You want me to try
Lauren
that?
graduated 3 years ago, and Kaylee graduated in 14. Yeah, she's the.
How about I do this? and invite-
Travis is top shelf. I mean, he's a really nice guy.
Mm.
Really good guy. I was talking to him about this thing. And there's no 14 day.
I need to be able to get into an email and then I'd be able to.
Probably sales thinking, but he said
For you waiting at home, we're having some technical issues. And for once, it's not with Bearcat TV.
We could just put him on a cell phone, and just.
Yeah, we can try and.
As long as he can hear us.
I'm just gonna see if I can just email it to you again. I'll do the same thing. Let them know.
Went out to, for a couple hours. Guy helped him get
Got a lot of technology.
claims. And he doesn't have no cramping. So I was squeaking about interruption. Good God. We'll keep it alive.
Okay, I'm gonna send you the link again, what else, what is different.
Nice furniture. Biggest was 13. Most of them were all died.
Some subjects and anyway.
Yeah. To the house.
Unless I have to do some
Isolation down there. Yanked him, I think that's the problem. All I did. Just fishing, let's stop fishing.
You don't show up. Because normally you would show up on the right-hand side of my screen here. Yeah, I'm the only participant.
Make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster. Call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, gentlemen, we go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? So moved. Thank you. Marty, second? Second. Thank you, Aaron. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Conflicts disclosure? I don't see any. Public communications? As of right now, no public communications. Let's jump right into our return to school plan. Just to get things going, as you can see here tonight, Joel Shoemaker is appearing via Zoom. He cannot be because here with us, and the reason why, Joel, is?
I am tested positive today for COVID.
So Joel's on quarantine. He tested positive for COVID. He said he didn't have a problem with people knowing about it, and that's why I went ahead and let everybody know why that is the issue. He's not here with us today, but what we wanted to talk about was our return to school plan. Specifically, after our last meeting, we asked Jim to find out what other schools were doing, and specifically, he was able to provide us with information from Harrisburg, Roncalli, and I also believe some other school districts, such as like Sioux Valley was meeting yesterday at noon, you said, Jim, correct?
Yes.
And these schools are taking action, kind of as we discussed at our last meeting, in allowing children to come back after they've been considered to be a close contact. And there's quite a bit of information with that, so I can either start, Jim, or do you want to chime in with anything right away?
I can just tell you the breakdown of the schools quickly. I sent this out to the Northeast special services co-op that we belong to, and then added some schools to it that don't belong to that co-op. And so it includes schools all the way from Groton and Britain all the way down to Elkton and just north of the Brookings area. Out of the schools that replied, I had about just around 20, and the majority of them did not plan on doing anything different. And Sioux Valley was one of those that said they were not doing anything different, but they did meet yesterday at noon, and they have decided to allow, they're going to recommend that all students finish the 14-day quarantine before they come back, but if they choose not to, they must wear a mask at all times. And so that's what they're doing. They're not requiring a test for anybody to come back. They're not requiring temperature checks because apparently the temperature checks are not always as accurate as everybody wants them to be as well. So that's what they're doing. Harrisburg is doing the same thing, although Harrisburg was not in my original list because they're farther south. Florence is the only school within this area that was going to do something different, and what they're doing is around the 10-day mark, where after 10 days their kids can come back. And so that's kind of the breakdown of what I've learned. So.
Okay. The other big thing is that in the email I think Jim forwarded to all of us, Harrisburg and also Ron Colley, I think I had a chance to see from you, Craig, both of those schools adopted policies that if a student is wearing their mask, for example, in a classroom, and they are considered a close contact with an individual that has COVID, they are allowing the student to come back right away on day one, if they were masked, to come back day one, but they have to continue to wear a mask mandated through the entire 14 days, stay symptom-free, and comply with any other provisions that the school district has. When I saw what Harrisburg had done, when we saw what Ron Colley, I believe, has also adopted the same policy, correct, Craig, as if I saw that email from you. Combine that with what we've had with the day 7 policy, thought it was worth us getting back together to see if we want to adopt any policies and change where we were at from last Monday. So with that being said, hopefully Joel, you're still on and can hear us. I'll throw it open to you guys to see if we want to make any changes with where we're at.
I think we'd be comfortable at a minimum going back to 7 days and a test. At least that, go that far.
I agree. I think that was a good plan on day 7. If they test negative and they're willing to come back and wear their masks throughout the entire time, I do think that that was a good plan. I had heard only positive comments from the community. I hadn't heard any negative comments about that.
I spoke to a doctor last night, and he gave me some information. I got to look at my phone here on this. If with kids, a lot of times they're asymptomatic, and if you're asymptomatic, there's a lot of false negatives with the tests. He told me that if there's positives on the test, generally they have it. If you test positive, you have it. But early on, especially at day 4, it's a 67%. How's this worded? 4 days after infection, they were 67% more likely to have a negative, even if they had the virus. When they had the best response to testing as far as being accurate and not having false negatives was at day 8, and that was a 20% error. So this gentleman that I spoke to, he's also on a school board. He told me, he said, if we're going to let them back early, he said, presently they're still on the 14 days. And he said, it's going to be discussed. And if they're going to let them back early, he's not even going to consider the test at that point because it's not very accurate, especially with youth. So, and I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that that's what, just food for thought.
I want to jump in there, Marty. So I'm dealing with this on a personal level right now. I've got a son at home that's on a close contact list. I am positive that they will not test my family. the medical system will not test them. And I have another son at home that, we have severe concerns about, and they won't test them. So I guess my question is on testing on day 7 is, how do you get the test? I don't think the medical system isn't going to allow us to, what do we have out on a close contact list right now, 10, 15 kids? I don't think Department of Health is going to let us test them on day 7.
My understanding, Joel, is that, and I don't know why, but you can get the rapid result test in Watertown or Clark, and so for whatever reason, there are certain locations that do test people when they just request it.
I can just tell you from my experience today, that is not correct.
One thing about it, when it's
doctor's order,
when it's
either place to get tested, and if you don't have signs or symptoms, the doctors will not give the order. I can tell you that from personal experience today. I mean, we were working on this all day.
Okay.
And the other side of it is, they're saying that early on, the false negatives are really common. So it's, you can't even really go by the information that you get back from the test because there's so many false negatives, especially with young people early on with it.
So are you saying, Marty, you'd rather not do the day 7 come back?
Well, I think if we're gonna do a test, I think day 8, because this is showing, and I'm just going by the numbers that I was given. Day 8 is when the tests are most accurate and eliminate the most false negatives.
Well, we work day after 7 days, the 8th day you test.
Yeah, and that goes along with what you're saying. So I don't think we want to, if we're looking at possibly going earlier and saying we're basing it on a negative test, the earlier we go forward, the more inaccurate those tests are.
I agree.
With what you're saying, Marty, day 8 test, you can come back. If we wear a mask, we can come back, as some other schools without a test.
Correct.
It's still going to be masked regardless, whether you test or not, if you're coming back before 14 days.
And if they do take a test and it comes back positive, they've got it.
Agreed. There's no question. This isn't about the kids that test positive. If you test positive, you're out the 14 days, period.
10 days without symptoms.
Or, yeah, whatever the Department of Health and doctors say. I mean, those are not the issues. These are the individuals on the close contact list that we're talking about that are asymptomatic or they don't have any symptoms. I want to make sure I use the right phrases. They have no symptoms and they want to try to return to school is what we would be talking about. And maybe what we should also look at is, do we want to adopt something like Harrisburg and Roncalli has, where they've said, look, if you're wearing a mask and you're in the class with student A, if I'm sitting next to Larry and I wear the mask during class and Larry pops hot for the COVID, do we want to allow, and I was masked during that time, under the Harrisburg rule, under the Roncalli rule, and some of these other communities, they're allowing them to come back day 1. Do we want to do something like that?
I think one of the questions that you have to answer is wearing a mask going to eliminate you from being on that close contact list? And according to what the Department of Health says, no, it doesn't. Now, people still question, well, what do we want to wear a mask for? The purpose of the mask and the barriers is that it does still help prevent getting the virus, but it doesn't negate you from that. So if it doesn't negate you, then do we ask, are we going to place that person on the close contact list? If we do place them on the close contact list, then you decide as a board, are we going to let those people come back? And so...
And see, I think that the mask, that's the thing about the Department of Health. There are many businesses out there that they're wearing the mask. And if you are wearing the mask and you're next to somebody, they are allowing them to come back to work. That is flat out because of the mask is there for protection. Now, it seems that they have a different rule for schools because they're just saying, we're going to keep it simple. Put everybody on the 14-day quarantine. But they've also said we do have more capability to make a decision there. It's just on our own. I think that we can make an informed decision. For example, I know of one of the parents I heard from a different community, their son's the football team captain, and they adopted this policy. And all of those high school boys, they want to continue playing football this year, and they've said, we're gonna make sure we wear masks in school because we don't wanna be on the close contact grenade. I'm okay if we wanna stick with the 14 days, I mean, that's a board decision, but I think I'm also okay with, to me, this would be a reason why students should mask up. If you mask up, it's a way of, if you want to be here for homecoming in 3 weeks, and this is your senior year, and you're worried about sitting next to student A that's going to possibly get COVID, or even if you come to the game, wear the mask. Because I do believe it makes a difference. Now, if you choose not to, then we could maybe have our day 8, you could test back in, negative. I think we can adopt more than one policy. But I do think we should try to come up with some ideas to get the students back in the classroom. Because I do think we're starting to see a lot, I mean, I feel like it's just starting, and it seems like, how many kids are out right now? Jim, do you know?
We have 8, I believe.
Yeah.
With this case.
8? Now, and that's what this case now, for example, I heard there were some other kids that are out, not from something with the school, but from
Yes.
another event, correct?
I believe we have 3 close contact from something that's not associated with our school. Which is more proof that kids aren't staying home. And
Sure.
I mean, it just
And
is
you
what it
got
is.
3 more today from me.
3 more from Joel today.
Tom, I think you got 2 issues there. I think your first issue is, do we want to put the policy that we already approved once and froze, do we revamp that? I think that's issue number 1, and issue number 2 is if we want to do something with the masking. I'm all for the day 7 testing out, come back to school, because these quarantines are going to just get more and more and more, the close contacts, and the kids need to be in school. I think that's what we're all in agreement with here. And so I learned today that the day 7 testing thing is not going to be as easy as the rumors I had heard before about these mass testing facilities. That's, after my experience today, I learned that it doesn't quite work that way. But I think it would still stick at day 7 and they take a traditional test, maybe they can at least be back in school by day 8 or day 9, and if they get lucky, they can get a fast test and get back in where I'm at on that issue.
All right, so just to keep things moving, Joel, you're at going forward with the previous policy with day 7. Larry, you were with that, or?
Yeah, I'd even modify that with, combine it with the day 8 come back with mask. I don't know what the administration thinks on that.
Joel, did you do the rapid test today?
Yes, I did, Aaron. I on the way home, I was out looking at some jobs yesterday, and last evening on my way home, I felt something was up, and I tried Sioux Falls, Brookings, Watertown, Clark, everywhere. Nobody has this rapid testing except for Clark and Watertown, and you have to have a doctor's order to get it. Which means you have to go to the clinic, see a doctor, they issue the order, then you can drive down there and it takes an hour. It is super fast, but you need a doctor's order. And I did try to get my family in today. I don't know if I'm supposed to be sharing this in a public forum or not, but I did try to get them in today, and they said no signs, no symptoms, no test, period.
So then if a student is after day 7 wants to get tested, if he does the traditional test, which I was told today is it's 6 to 7 days to get the results. So why would you do the test? You're going to be past your 14 days then anyhow.
That's a good point.
Unless you can get the rapid test, but.
Gotta have a doctor's note to get it. And maybe the testing will change. I mean, I know that I was able to get I think it ebbs and flows as to where the tests are at. I was able to get a test one
Tom,
time.
that is correct. She told us today that it must be taken off here just in the last few days because they've done more tests today than they have in the previous weeks, and so that maybe has something to do with it, that they're just overloaded. I still think we should enact a policy to at least give somebody a chance.
Whether or not they can exercise a chance, it's not that's the health community. At least we've got the policy to try to give them the chance, and if the tests become more prevalent, you're supposed to be able to get tested any time. I've heard that many times.
And the tests come with a cost. They're $125 to $150 is what I was told, and some insurance covers it and some doesn't.
Correct.
So are the parents going to want to get a test
you know.
But
to require that test, some parents maybe are gonna say, we can't afford that.
Yeah, without a doctor's order, I'm sure the insurance won't cover, I'm guessing.
But then again, we just are waiting until the day 14.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's either we stick with the day 14, there's no way back, or we try to give them, because you know, the people that actually called us, when we first implemented the policy, there was 2 mothers that were pretty upset, because they did get their kids tested. And that was just 2 weeks ago. It was less than 2 weeks ago, it was 10 days ago about, right, Craig?
I think so.
It was that Friday, so we're talking 10, 11 days ago, those mothers were able to get tests for their kids. So I think that what we should make the decision based upon whether a test is available. I think we make the decision on whether or not we want to have that in place or not. If the tests are available, they get it. If they're not, they have to wait day 14. I think that we can't decide the tests.
So you're saying that the test is going to be required if we have some sort of a return policy?
Yeah, if they're not masked up, I think there's no way we can just allow them just to.
What if they wear the mask?
Yeah. So then the question is, I gotta throw this out, if the Department of Health says you're not, wearing a mask is not good enough for being the close contact, well then when you're the close contact, but we'll let you come back with the mask on, to me that's actually the opposite.
Well.
You know, I mean, you should actually, if you've been wearing the mask and you were the close contact, it should be the other way around. You get to stay. If you come back without the mask, then we're basically, the barn door is already open.
So to clarify what you are saying, and you're saying that if a child is wearing a mask and was in close contact, and then after day 7, they come back day 8 and they continue to wear a mask, we'd be okay with that? Or?
Nope, to me that's not, I would say that this is an example, what we're talking about right now, the way Joel broke it down in 2 issues, is that if Tom is sitting next to Larry comes up hot for COVID, Tom is not wearing a mask, I'm out for 14 days. I'm on the close contact list. Our original policy was that you could test out after day 7 or 8, but you had to come, day 7, you have to come back, you have to be masked, and you have to be symptom free. That's all I'm saying. I think that would be the policy here. I think the other question is, if I am sitting next to Larry and I am wearing the mask, the Harrisburg rule and Roncalli rule, what I'm saying, do we want to adopt that? If the kid is wearing the mask, they don't hit the close contact list. That's what those schools are doing.
So they don't even get included on the close contact
Correct.
list?
They're not included.
Oh, if they're in between the 6 or not?
Yeah.
Like 3 feet away?
Yep. Now, do we want to adopt that policy and get kids encouraged to wear masks?
On the Harrisburg now, if you're close contact, you can come back immediately.
If you were wearing but you had to be wearing a mask when you were in the close contact.
Oh, okay, that's
the key thing.
We're getting a little.
Yep.
You can't come back with a mask. You can come back if you were wearing a mask.
And then you have to still come back
continue
with
to
a
wear a
mask.
mask.
Correct.
So at all times you're wearing a mask prior to and after.
Correct.
That's no different than just wearing a mask and coming back.
Correct. And we can just leave it as is, guys. I mean, this was a decision that we don't want to, I wasn't going to have Jim or Craig make. We found out the information. It's time, we're the ones that have to make the decisions.
Yeah, how do we get them here with only losing a week?
Yeah, I would rather get them back here sooner if we can.
I agree.
It's a safety concern, but we know a gentleman that works for the Department of Health up in North Dakota, and he said, for those people that have been on a contact list, he hasn't, and wearing a mask, they haven't had anybody test positive for COVID. And I read an article on the Harrisburg. Their students, they had 200 students on the close contact list. And what they said was one of those students actually ended up testing positive for COVID. So out of 200 that were on close contact list, one ended up testing positive.
And he might have just been unlucky from even before, whatever.
Yeah.
What I would want to know with those statistics is how many students tested. I mean, if you have 200 and there was only 5 that tested in one,
Sure.
well, you're at 20%.
It might be a small number.
I understand that, and it does make sense because you're hearing more about that being a very, very low rate. And if that is truly indeed the case, then to me, it isn't as serious. But how do we know how many kids were tested? Especially now that we're hearing that you can't get tested unless you have symptoms. And so of those 200, how many actually had symptoms? I would guess them. I will tell you this, that from our statistics, we can say 0. Not one of the students that's been on a close contact list has tested positive. And there have been some that have tested, that did experience symptoms and have been tested, but their tests came negative. So we've had a few of those.
And that goes back to, at what point did they take that test? Was
I
it
know,
right
that's
away?
it.
The earlier they take it, the more there is likely to be error. Craig, this is what my wife sent me that. She said, this is according to somebody who works with this, they said, in 6 months of contact tracing, I have not been able to trace a single case of COVID back to an interaction between 2 people wearing masks.
That's why I think the Harrisburg rule, if we really want to get down to it. Mask up.
I would rather work on preventing it.
There you go.
The front end versus the back end.
I know my brother who has a job where he has a lot of people that are working hard to stay in their job. If they wear a mask and they still come into contact with those COVID person, they keep coming until they develop symptoms. You keep coming back until you keep wearing the mask, you keep doing the temperature checks. We have to expect them to do that at home. We have to allow our nurse and our staff, if they think that a kid is sitting there, with the temperature, they can get it done. It's nice that we have the nurse here, we have our staff, but I think we should be encouraging all of our students. To me, this would be a great way for the girls' basketball team, volleyball team, boys, you want to play basketball this year? Mask up.
I was driving down the road last week and I was bored, so I was listening to NPR. And they were interviewing the superintendent down at Burke and the one in Vermillion. And they were talking about how many cases they had and how it just kind of blew up on them. And then they went on and they were talking to somebody who works with universities. And they said the one place that has not been hit by this, higher level learning, is Mitchell Tech. And they were like, well, any idea why? And they said, yeah, because from the very beginning, they put masking and disinfecting and cleaning your work area as part of the routine. Your dental hygienist, they got masks on automatically. If you're working on construction, you've got your safety goggles, you got your earplugs, and now you put a mask on with it. So every one of their programs incorporated it from the very beginning. They put the mask and cleaning your work area, disinfecting your tools afterwards. When it was on the radio last week, they've had 3 cases.
Well, I guess what we could do is we can talk about this forever. Maybe if you guys,
it works.
Yeah, we know that masking works. I mean, they say it, at the national level, we're putting the politics aside, that's what they're saying. Let's take these 2 questions. Joel, do you have anything else to add, or otherwise I'm gonna just go ahead and let's take a roll call vote on these 2 issues.
I'm good. Go for it.
Marty, you got anything else to add? Larry?
Yeah, I do, Tom.
Okay.
And I just want to throw this, we're focusing on the students real hard here, and which we need to be doing, but let's not lose sight of the staff. And, this thing really is, as you know, hit me hard. Luckily, I hadn't been around our staff a lot, so there's not going to be a lot of close contact, but, when we're talking about this and we're looking at the athletics and all of that stuff, we got to keep our staff in mind, because you get one person in the wrong spot and it could really hurt us.
I agree, and that's why I think the masking even is more important.
I do have something else. I asked this doctor I was talking to last night, I said, what's the significance of 14 days? And he said, well, oddly he said those numbers come from China. So he kind of chuckled as he said it, but he said from typically, the average person gets it 3 to 5 days after exposure. That's the average. But some people get it a little bit early, some people get it really late, but it's a bell curve. And so some people will get it at day 10, but it's fewer. But everybody, when the bell curve flattens out and gets back to 0, is day 14. So you could theoretically get exposed to it, and if you're one of those people on the very tail end, you wouldn't have it till day 13. And then you've got it for 10 days after that. So, and once again, and the reason I'm mentioning this is the importance of masking up, because you might think, I've got nothing to do with this, that was a week and a half ago, and still, you know, if we've got everybody masking up in here, especially the hallways, you know, I think if they can space out and they can social distance, I don't think they gotta be all the time. But I'm gonna go back to what we talked about last time. I think in the hallways, and anytime there's a close interaction, they should be wearing them. The people at a hospital wear them all day long. They have them on when they walk in. Probably the only time they can take it off is maybe to lift it up and take a sip of water. So if they can do that, then I think we can wear them in the hallways. I'd rather prevent it than deal with it later.
I agree. Larry, anything else to add?
I'm with Marty.
Aaron?
Don't have anything to add, no?
All right, so let's do it just because the way Joel placed it out, we had the two issues. First issue, do we want to allow students back in if they can obtain a negative test after being on a close contact list at day, is it 8? All right, at day 8.
8 was when the tests were the most accurate.
Okay, so day 8.
But most people have it by day 10. They're going to have symptoms by day 10. Not very many after that.
So you're saying 8, do you want to do day 8, Larry? I mean, Marty, excuse me?
Well, if you have symptoms day 8, we're talking symptom-free for.
Correct.
Yeah.
I want to make sure
and I think with that, we've got to say, you know, if at any point in time you have any symptoms at all.
I agree. This is symptom-free.
Symptom-free.
Yep, and you still are mandated mask when you come back. Day 8 was, I'm going to say the motion by Larry. We probably have to have a second. Is there a second on that motion?
I'm thinking.
Marty's thinking.
Are we gonna discuss another option then after this, or?
We will discuss the masking option after this if you want to. Do you have another option you want to discuss, Aaron?
I like the Harrisburg plan, you know, and it'll make the kids actually maybe more responsible about the masks. It'll teach them consequences for their actions. If they're not wearing a mask, they get it, they're gone. If they, you know, then they can stay in.
I agree with you, and I think that's another alternative. I just think these are two different things. I agree absolutely with you.
We would actually adopt both policies.
Possibly, yeah. I think we can adopt both policies.
So the current motion is day 8 return.
Day 8 return is right now what?
Anything associated with the test?
It has to be a negative test yet right now. Just because that was what we have done. If they can get the test, great. If they can't, that's not what we can control. Okay. And I think it does ebb and flow. Because these are the individuals that did not mask up. If we adopted the Harrisburg policy, you know, those individuals could be back on day 1, yeah.
John, could I make another motion?
Yeah, I guess we can if we can keep track of it all.
I want to go back to the day 7, because I'm afraid that if we, I'm just afraid of the testing. If it takes a few days, then we're defeating the purpose. So my motion would be to just reinstate the original policy that we adapted at 2 meetings ago on day 7.
All right, I got a motion from Larry at day 8. I got a motion from Joel at day 7.
That's a return on day 7 and a return on day 8. The first one was day 8, the second one's day 7, a return.
So when does the test have to take place? On day 7?
Day 7 was our original policy.
They couldn't go get a test on day 1 and then when day 7
Correct.
rolls around and say, it's got to be dated that day.
No, our original policy was they had to have a test on day 7. So the way I read our motion, the day 7 was they had the test on day 7. The test on day 8 would be day 8 would be the test on day 8.
Yeah.
So
And
we got,
this is for students that are not masked up.
correct.
Correct.
This will be easy to explain to everybody in the school district when we have 4
If
school
you're
board
close
members.
contact and no mask,
If you're a close contact, no mask, and we don't adopt the Harris,
Yep.
considering we would adopt the Harrisburg policy. So I need a second on one of those motions, or they both die for lack of a second. That's where we stand. So either Aaron or Marty now, you guys gotta chime in.
I would second Joel's motion. Day 7, the original policy.
Okay?
Day 7 with a test. And come back with a negative test.
Negative test, symptom-free, masked up, mandatory, days 8 through 14. It's day 7 through 4, whatever the days are. Yep. All right, so now I have a motion on Joel, day 7, a second by Aaron. Any further discussion, I'll just call the vote on that.
are we?
So for the Roberts Rule of,
Well, yep, Robert's
the Roberts
rules.
Rule of Order, the first one failed by no second.
It's right now, it hasn't failed yet, it's still out there. But just because we already have one out there with a second, I'll vote on that one.
I would ask you to
I can't vote on
ask for a
the
second, and if there
Okay.
is no second, it's done.
All right,
Yeah, I can't vote on the second one with the first one pending.
That was the initial motion, the first one.
all right, we're making sure we keep this all right. Thanks a lot, Shoemaker, for not being here and making this difficult on us. Do we have a second on Larry's initial motion? That's up to you, Marty, because you're the only guy.
And I can reiterate what I have written down. That would be a day 8 return, negative test required, and this is for students who were not originally masked up. And they would have to mask regardless. Anybody that comes back before 14 is going to mask on all policies.
Correct.
Right?
Okay, so Larry's motion fails for lack of a second. Now we're going to vote on Joel's motion. Joel,
Yes.
okay? Aaron?
Let's have Jim explain it again.
Okay, make sure, Jim.
Okay, I've got a motion from Joel Shoemaker, second by Aaron Gakowski. This is for a day 7 return. A negative test would be required, and this is for students who were not masked originally, placed on a close contact list. And they would need to mask if they came back before 14 days.
And the test has to be on day 7 or later. It cannot be
Oh,
prior.
it can't be before 7.
Right, it can't be
Day
day
7
6,
or
can't be
later.
day 5, can't be day 4.
So we shouldn't say day 7 return, day 7 test.
Day 7 test.
Now, they could have the test in the morning and return by noon.
Yep,
I suppose.
yep. Just depends on what tests are available.
And this is students only, not athletes, has nothing to do with athletics.
Correct, South Dakota High School Activities Association, you can't.
What about staff? Are they included in this?
Staff, they've got different rules because of the essential employees.
The 7 days there.
Correct. All right, any further discussion? All right, Joel,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Marty. No. Okay. I'll vote yes on that one. All right, so now the second item to consider, which is what Aaron brought up, was the Harrisburg policy. The Harrisburg policy, Roncalli policy, they are not considering it a close contact if you were masked up when the close contact took place.
How are we gonna know who's?
So that is what it's gonna come down to, basically, a couple things. A, video, B, word. I mean, you do have a problem with that, I agree.
It would come down to, our investigation would include input from the teachers as to whether or not they feel or observe, it'd be more observed than anything else, a student wearing a mask regularly or not. And then if it's something that's difficult to determine on specific dates, you're gonna have difficulties.
Now, did they change that, tweak that a little bit on who determines the close contact? Is that-
Basically, the school district is determining it, but we're using 6 feet and 15
Correct.
consecutive minutes.
Department of Health, they backed away on who's determining close contact.
They're officially making that list, or officially approving that list, but we're the ones making the list.
Yeah, we're doing
Provide
the
all
investigating,
Okay.
and we're using teacher input, feedback to get their best observation or their best feedback and to get the best information that we can.
Yeah.
In essence,
To DOA.
we are making the list. It's
Yeah.
the information that we provide that makes the list.
Well, I guess the way I look at that, Marty, is if, again, I'll use myself as an example. If I've never worn a mask, and I all of a sudden pop up on the close contact list, and I said, nope, I've worn a mask. Mr. Block, you bet I did. You know, in my humble opinion, we have to trust our staff. They're the judge and jury on this one. They say, no, you haven't. You're still on the close contact list. I mean, they have to be able to prove that they were wearing the mask, or they have to have enough trust with the staff and with the school under that procedure. You know, I guess there's probably some kids that would lie about it.
Outside events.
And outside events, I don't feel like you can control. If they're on a close contact list because of an outside event, this doesn't apply to them. This is only school-related events. If I get on a close contact list because I went to the mall, you know, or I went to Pizza Hut, wherever it's at, this is only school we can control.
So if they get on a close contact list from outside events, then they follow the 7 days with the test?
Yes.
Regardless of what they say about whether
Correct.
they ask or not?
So I don't think we can control outside of the school walls. And there has to be some level of, like you're saying, Marty, checks and balances.
So, just to clarify, we have a few kids that are on a close contact list due to an activity that was somewhere else. It wasn't even a school activity in another school district. Those kids do not get to come back prior to 14 days regardless. They have to fulfill their...
7 days, but at the test.
Or you will allow them.
I think under what we just passed, day 7, they could.
Even though it's not a school activity that
Yes.
they were...
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think that was the intent of that one. Are you in agreement with that, Aaron? Larry? That even it was an outside act, yeah.
Yeah.
So even if it's at the mall,
Yes.
they can come back after 7 days if they're symptom-free and a negative test and everything else.
Joel, was that your intent?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm trying to,
I guess I'll jump in here, Tom. I'm good with this policy on the masks. My only fear is, what are we doing to our administration as far as, extra workload? Because I can only imagine this is gonna get worse as we go. Craig, I had my parent hat on the other night when I came and got Jack's homework, and, it's tough. And I asked Craig about it, how do you do this? And he says, well, we look at surveillance, we talk to the teachers, we go out, we measure, and now you got all these different opinions entering the equation, and I just want to make sure that we're not, I guess before I would make the motion, Jim and Craig, I'd want to know that you are on board with this policy.
It actually, in my opinion, will put a little bit more pressure on the teachers to keep monitoring. I don't know how they're going to document that little Susie never puts her mask on, or little Johnny does it every now and then, and so it's going to come down to whether a teacher reports something to us. Whatever the teacher reports, in my opinion, as an administrator, is going to have to stand, whether mom and dad cry, bawl, scream, holler, do whatever. We just simply say that's the way it goes. But that's easier said than done. I can already tell you that it's easier said than done, because they will say, well, my daughter said that she had her mask on. And my son said he wasn't even in that room. My son said he was 13 feet away. My son said this. And so it's going to put pressure on the teachers for, I don't know if it'll be excessive monitoring, but it's going to require monitoring.
It has with what we've had so far too. It's been a challenge. But yeah, we might have the it might come up where little Susie had her mask off for 10 seconds and then it's back on. You know, how do we handle that?
Well, if you read this, I'm reading the exact language of the Harrisburg School District. Harrisburg School District will strongly encourage identified close contacts to follow the Department of Health recommendation of quarantining for 14 days if they are following the district recommendation of wearing a mask. They did a nice way of wording this. Those who choose not to follow the recommendation of quarantine will be required to wear a mask in school during the recommended quarantine period. So what they're basically saying is, look, we're still recommending you quarantine for the 14 days. But if you were wearing a mask per our policy, then you can come back with the 14 days. It's a wink and a nod. It's nicely worded, if you ask me, is how they put it together. But it does. It absolutely puts pressure on staff. I mean, the easy answer for us is just to say, we're not going to do it. But I also think that there's some merit into what the kids are saying. And I don't think it's the grade school kids. I mean, how much of a problem is it with grade school kids not wearing a mask, Craig?
No, they're doing a pretty darn good job. I mean, like I told Joel when he was in, it was, I'd guess, 98%, 99%. And you'll have that time where they take it off for a little bit, it's back on. Of course, at lunchtime, they don't have it on. In recess, they do not have it on. Some still wear them out there. I think they're just in good habit of wearing it for those that wear it outside.
But as I had one parent tell me, their kids come home and they say, they get it, they can wear the mask to help protect their teachers, but otherwise, what difference does it make? I'm still going to be quarantined 14 days.
Yeah.
And I think this does answer that question to a certain extent.
Well, I should go
like
back.
you said, Aaron.
I should go back my percentages too, because there's times in the classroom where they mask off. If there's a little separation, so they're not having the mask on all the time.
So Harrisburg, what I've got in front of me, Harrisburg is, if you did not wear a mask during the time of close contact, you're required to stay home the duration.
Correct.
We didn't say that in our day 7 motion. that
Right,
passed.
we're allowing them to be back if they get the negative test. They'd have to have the negative test.
True.
If they don't have the negative test, they don't come back.
I remember a few months ago, guys, we asked ourselves the question, how do we incentivize mask wearing? And this is probably as close to an incentive as I've seen, would be to enact a policy like this, because they are going to gain by wearing them.
What do you think, Aaron?
I would be for that, for that policy that Harrisburg did.
Social distancing is part of that,
Yes.
just so we don't lose sight of that.
Do you mind if I read what Harrisburg has?
Yep.
It's stuff that you have kind of, I have 6 points on here. Number 1, when staff, parents, and/or Department of Health notify the school of a positive case, designated personnel will conduct contact tracing. That's just a general administration and teachers. The district will use social distance, use of masks, tables, and/or dividers, as well as the length of close contact in determining whether an individual is considered a potential close contact. That's already part of our process. It's just clarifying the process. Students, and this is number 3, students and/or staff members will not be deemed in close contact if they were able to social distance and it was less than 15 minutes, so they won't even be on the list if your normal stuff can occur, or if they wore a mask during the time of close contact. And we've had that discussion. The students and staff will be contacted by personnel recommended to quarantine, and they will continue to track these individuals through the recommended quarantine date. Students and staff members recommended to quarantine who remain in school must show no symptoms. They must wear a mask at all times when they are not able to socially distance. and will be required to have their temperature checked during the school day through the recommended quarantine date. So they're requiring masks when it's not possible to social distance, and have their temperature checked, and they are still symptom-free. Those three things on a daily basis. Number 4, students who were not able to social distance and did not wear a mask, this is what I just mentioned, will be required to stay home for the duration of the quarantine. So they're still doing 14 days for someone who didn't have a mask on. And that's the difference with what we passed, is ours is saying if they didn't have a mask on, we still would allow them to come back after 7 days with a negative test. And then number 5, after investigative measures of contact tracing, a list of students and staff identified will be submitted to the Department of Health. And then that's just basically stating that they will all be notified. Number 6, they're just kind of determines who considers a close contact contacts at school. Yeah, it's just saying that the Department of Health will determine who's close contact with the information that the school provides. I just wanted to read everything that they had, so we, if we want to use some of their wording, it's been discussed and we're okay with it.
Aaron, I hit you, so Larry always gets hit second, so Marty, now you're second.
For
the mask issue, the Harrisburg policy, that's the issue I feel we're discussing right now, whether or not.
Well, I really like the fact that it's pushing the mask and mask, two people together, they both have masks on, because that's, you know, we've been hearing it a lot and it's been said a lot. If both people have masks on, transmission isn't occurring. And if we can get the kids to both have masks on, you know, anytime they're close,
And
I'm all for
it's a way
that.
of doing it without mandating it. This is them making their own personal choice, you know, so you're not mandating them to do it, which would cause an uproar if you did that.
So we're saying if you get it and you're not wearing your mask all the time, now we're 7 days, or we?
Right now, under our policy is, if you get it, if you're a
7.
close contact, I don't care where it's at, your day
I
7.
like the 14 better than the 7, if we're gonna push for it that way. I'm sure that's why they're doing that. They're saying, you're gonna be out 14 days.
If you choose not to wear a mask.
And you get it, you're 14. Versus, what we have right now is, we're saying, if you choose not to wear a mask and you get it, you can come back in at 7.
If you get the test.
If you get
But
the
right now,
test.
you wouldn't be able to get a test,
If
so
you're
you better
just
mask
being
up.
close contact, not if you get it.
Say again?
Just close contact, not if you get it.
Right, you get the test, I mean, is what I.
No, I mean,
Well, and the test you could get on day 7, but if you don't get the rapid test, it could be 6, 7 days, or who knows?
Correct. You may not get back till day 13,
Right.
But I think, I don't want to speak for you, Martin, but I think what you're trying to say is maybe there's, if you're not going to mask up, you're just out 14, we're not even going to let you get a chance to come back. If you do mask up, maybe after 7 days you can come back. Are you saying that or not?
Well,
Or,
I keep thinking back about to the negativity of the poor results on the negative tests. You know, they're not foolproof. You know, just because it says negative doesn't mean that you're negative. And so we might be allowing, you know, they might become, but they are wearing a mask.
And they're masked up.
But they are masked up.
I mean, remember, we're not saying they get to come back free willy.
I guess the way I'm looking at it, I like our 7-day policy, and I could go along with this, the mask policy, because we're incentivizing the kids to wear their masks. And I just don't feel that we can mandate, if we take away the 7-day option, we're mandating the masks, and I do not think that's where we need to go. I think that we're giving them options, and we're gonna let them make choices. That's how life is. I think we have 2 good options here.
Larry?
you know, the close contact, school events, wearing a mask. But the other part wearing them, if it's not a school activity, then it's an automatic 14 regardless.
No, after 7
After
days,
7,
they can test.
No, I'm just saying what we're talking about, the Harrisburg rule.
Right, right.
The Harrisburg rule
Correct.
only applies to school events.
Yes, I agree.
Does not apply to any other events.
Yep.
To where they were wearing the mask when they were deemed
Yep.
close contact. Only
So that
school.
also incentivizes what they do to be careful out of school.
Right.
Yeah, but the,
You would never be able
you know,
to.
we would be, out of school, we can't, I don't think we can adopt that for an out-of-school thing. We have to have some type of, as checks and balances. Bottom line, no matter what provision we decide, if this is a question of whether a kid's wearing the mask, I think we are all five in agreement tonight that the decision of staff is final. And there may be some parents upset, but that's just the way it is. There has to be a decision maker.
I'm looking to do anything to get the kids in school, keep them in school. But I just don't want to take too much risk with staff and with the other students either.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there is a problem, you know, with the parent, or if we don't know if he was wearing the mask or not, or for sure. You know, if we say, it's the difference of between 7 and 14 days. You know what I mean? If they're wearing the mask or not. If we determine wrong or right.
The worst case, they're gonna be out to 14 anyway. If we don't adopt any of these policies, you're gone 14 days, period.
But the Harrisburg, you don't miss a day.
If you're wearing the mask and.
Yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
preventing. Not Halloween masks either.
Right.
And that's the other side of it. I'm glad you said that, because not every mask is the
Sure.
same. So are we gonna, does the mask have to meet some criteria?
Are there any masks, have you seen any masks that wasn't
You know, like
constituted as what they,
The ones they pull up are not tightly woven. They're, you know, those elastic ones, they're not tightly woven. And I had mentioned that in one of our meetings previously, that anything is better than nothing. And so that's kind of the discussion. But there is research that states that some of the loose woven, single layered is not as effective as a double layered cloth.
Single layer is the key there.
Yep.
So they consider all the pull-up ones single layer?
They're single layer, not all of them are, but most of them are. They're single layer and they are less effective. They do have some effectiveness, but they're less effective than if you have a double cloth one. Then there's double cloth ones with the filters inside, which are more effective. So I suppose the more layers, the more effective. And if you actually have some sort of a filter, it's more effective. But that would be difficult for us to.
I don't think that's something we can be doing, mask enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, the bottom line is too, is there's just, no matter what, there's no easy answer. Every school district's struggling with it, every state is. You know, we have to make a decision based upon what we feel comfortable with here in Webster. Like you said, Marty, Joel Shoemaker could be the guy at the opposite end of the bell curve and got it 13 days ago, and it just took 13 days for those symptoms to develop. He could have been walking around for 13 days, but you just don't know it until day 13.
Right.
There's no way we can negate all risk with COVID-19. We can't.
Is staff and administration, the Harrisburg rule, have you got any feedback at all from anybody?
I don't think it's officially adopted, is it?
I thought that
I haven't gotten any feedback.
Oh, it must be, because it says this is the motion we are
Yeah,
using.
they said it was,
So
this
yes,
was,
it has been adopted, but I don't know how
Yep.
long ago.
it was last week, according to this thing here. As a result, going forward, don't have the date of when he sent that, but you'd have to believe it was their school board meeting last Monday, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was. It made Keloland News last Monday night.
Is our staff comfortable with Harrisburg rule?
I don't know.
They're gonna be.
I haven't surveyed them, I haven't talked to them.
It's pretty hard to be comfortable with anything, I understand that.
Wouldn't the Harrisburg rule, though, be, I mean, what we're talking about is actually, again, like Aaron says, getting the kids to wear more masks, Marty. And you're getting the kids to wear the mask. To me, this is a good thing. If you're masked up, and that's what I'm getting at, Marty. If you're masked up, and the staff and the school agree with you, you got a shot to come back in. So stay masked up in school. If you're not masked up, or you can't prove that you're masked up because you're a infrequent masker, you're out. I mean, to me, I really agree with Aaron, and as you said, Marty, this is a carrot, not the stick necessarily. Mask up. You can come to school.
So we're gonna combine that with ours and say 7 days if?
I think day 7 is still a good plan. For example, if you're, yeah, you can have both because of the kids, like we said, that are at the Subway, the Pizza Hut. They get hit on the close contact list with nothing to do with school if they can get a negative test. Key thing is they gotta have the negative test. Maybe they can't get it in today's day and age, but they're still coming back, and again, they're masking up, they're symptom-free. I mean, I think we're talking about the kids that we probably want back in school, that one of our Webster grads from North Dakota said he's been doing it for 6 months and found
0.
Yeah, 0. Harrisburg said 1 out of the 200. We've got 0. I guess, to me, this is a thing that is a definite positive, and I would hope that our students would see it like that and say, get some leadership, get the parents backing their kids. If they want them in school, wear the mask.
And this includes when they come back, they're stopping somewhere and getting their temperature checked once in the morning, maybe once in the afternoon, or?
So is that temp checking for 14 days, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
Well, they wouldn't be back the first few days.
Now, this one with the Harrisburg thing, I mean.
With the Harrisburg thing, then it'd be the next day.
Do you think we could have, would that be too much of a burden to put on the school nurse for those kids to come back and check in for a temperature check during the day, you think?
Our 2 cases, we had 15 for close contact on the first positive case, and we've got 8, I think, on the second one, so. She's busy already. I'm not gonna say that she isn't, but I would say that probably is doable.
I mean, because I saw Adam Mines at football with the 22 kids coming in, and
We could find.
order more
Understand
thermometers if we have
how-
to. Craig Case can have one in his pocket all day, walking around zapping kids as far as we're concerned.
I think we could make it work.
I like that. And make sure we get extra thermometers. There's nothing wrong with
We already have
enough.
4 or 5 of them. in the
I think
building.
we have enough.
We don't get more. All right, so we beat this horse.
So what are we looking at?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Do we have, Aaron, you're the one that brought that up last time. Do you want to make a motion on this, Aaron?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, what's your
Make a
motion?
motion to adopt the Harrisburg policy of, if it's a school event and you're identified as a close contact, as long as you mask up, or were masked up, you can still come back to school as long as you stay masked up for that 14 days.
And temperature-free and.
Yep, no symptoms,
Yep.
all that.
And just period, it just needs to be simple. We're not gonna be out there testing whether you're social distancing 6 or 5. You're just masked up. The only time you're not masked up is when you're eating or, drinking, that type of thing. Just mask up. I think that's the simpler way.
When can they come back?
This one would be under Aaron's motion, the Harrisburg, day 1, if they were masked.
School event, close contact, and masked, they can come back.
Time of close
With
contact.
temp checks.
and-
Temp checks, symptom-free, mandate mask. Then it's not even optional.
They have to wear a mask when they come back.
Yep.
So anybody that's ever in a close contact, the legitimate close contact of 6 feet for 15 consecutive minutes, will be masked. If it's day 1, according to this motion, if it passes, they have to be masked. Even if it's day 7 and a negative test, they have to be masked for the other one as well, when they come back.
For the 14 days.
Anybody that comes back prior to 14 days, is probably how I should say it.
He's always masked.
Is always going to be
Yeah,
masked.
absolutely. If
Until
you're coming
14
back,
days is done.
you're masked.
The 7-day rule, you're masked through 14. also.
Right.
in effect, all you're changing here is the close contact rule.
Correct.
Because your other one is still in effect.
Correct.
You're changing the close contact rule.
You don't miss a day.
And they've got to be masked up in the hallway. If they're walking around in the armory, is that correct? On any of our school property, they are going to be masked.
Yep.
If they've already been identified as a close contact, and we would normally quarantine them, then they should be masked 100% of the time.
Yep.
Or do we say unless they can social distance?
No, I think mask 100% of the time, 'cause I don't need you out there saying, no, that's 5 and, we don't need to have, it's just a simple rule.
If you want to be in school earlier than the 14 days is done, you will be masked, other than at lunch, right?
Yep, drinking fountain. Well, you don't have drinking fountains anymore. All right, so I've got that motion by Aaron. Do we have a second? Okay. if we don't- All right, Joel, you're making a second? All right, any further discussion on this issue?
In effect, this would adopt both policies.
In my opinion, yes.
It's not a bad thing to have two policies that basically, they don't overlap.
Correct, I think
They parallel each other.
Yeah, I actually think it's kind of smart. We're doing what we can control here in the school. At the same time, we're giving options to those that are unlucky enough to be on a close contact because of some outside event. If they can get the negative test, and they're negative and they're gonna come back and follow the rules, then let them back in. I think we are making two different policies, but they do coincide.
Yeah. And of course, if you catch them without a mask, then they're out.
Yeah, and that's very clear. If you come back on day 5, 6, or 7, I don't think it should be one of these things. I mean, maybe there's a warning because you just inadvertently did it, but again, our staff and administration are judge, jury, and executioner. If Tom Sanis comes back and he starts flaunting the rule and he's not wearing the mask, you're out, and then you don't come back.
I think we're focusing too much on the after the close contact has been identified. To me, this rule is more so for the kids 3, 4, 5 days before a close contact was made. You don't start wearing the mask after you've been identified. You have to be wearing it beforehand.
Correct.
For this rule to apply.
For the Harrisburg rule.
Agreed. But I think what Larry was saying there, if the kids, if they come back and they don't wear it, there's got to be consequences. And I think it goes without saying, we're all in agreement that if staff and administration think they're not following the rules, they remove them from the school, correct? No matter what policy we have in place. Aaron, yes? Larry, yes? Marty?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
I mean, we want that to be clear to the student body and to our patrons. I mean, this isn't something you get to come back and say, well, I'm doing it half the time, or I'm doing it a quarter of the time. No. Mandate's mandate at that point in time. All right, so we had a motion by Aaron, a second by Joel. Do we have any further discussion as to that motion? To adopt what I'm calling the Harrisburg plan.
What's your thoughts? I'm just curious, you guys. On that plan.
Yeah, I see the challenges of, the investigative part. And are we getting the truth? And like Dr. Block said with the staff, they don't have on the eyes on the kids all the time. In class, they're going around helping this person out, that person out, just to make sure that they have the mask on. So that, that's the challenging part. But like I said before, I'm all for getting the kids back to school. And like you had mentioned before, if they're wearing masks, the studies have shown that not many of them test positive. we're in a tough situation. It's been challenging, it will continue to be challenging. Just hope people can work with us, and we're gonna do the best that we can. That's all that we can do.
Agreed.
I would concur with a fair amount of what he said. When it comes to the statistics, I'm not as overly concerned when you look at the lower rates. It doesn't mean it doesn't affect young people, because it does, but it doesn't as much. And typically what we're seeing is the young people that have been affected normally have some sort of a underlying health condition. So that part I can live with, and I like the fact that we're putting something in place that encourages the mask wearing. If you left it up to me to say, yep, we're going to require masks, trust me, I can make it happen. Wear a mask or get out. I'm not worried about being the popular principal that's, everybody loves or whatever, and it's not my goal for people to hate me, but if that's what we choose to do, that's what we would do. This will encourage it, hopefully. The challenge for me is going to be drafting something that makes sense, that doesn't bring up 1,700 additional questions, and that we can get to the kids tomorrow morning as well as to the parents so that they know what we mean. That's going to be the challenge now. I've made announcements after our previous meetings, and I don't know if they were in the band room and playing music and didn't hear it, because I think it was completely oblivious to some students when we talked about whether or not kids should be social distancing in the crowd and volleyball games and things like that. So that's one of the frustrations that I have, is we were trying to control what we can control, which is all we can do, but I know there's so much more that the kids are doing where they're not being personally responsible when it comes to this virus. They just are not. Parents don't like to hear that. It's not a popular thing to say, but a good portion of our students are not being personally responsible in their personal lives outside of the school system. But I can't control that, so neither can you.
I like this policy because if there's gonna be an uptick in cases or close contacts, like we said before, if you get dinged 2 times.
It's a month.
Especially with a block schedule.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's even more than a month then.
It's like 2 months out of a regular year. Because
Yeah, we could see that happen where
Yep.
kid could get dinged twice, 3 times. Never know.
All right, gentlemen, call the vote. Aaron, you made the motion?
Yes.
Joel, you seconded it?
Yes.
Larry? That's a yes. Marty?
I'll go with it.
Marty, yes. Tom, yes. All right. Final thing, I do want to bring up an alibi. I did have a parent contact me, and I'll bring it up just since we're talking about it. They had a concern about the 6-ticket rule per family versus per athlete. They were hoping, and I want to be clear, this is not my family, as Joel made me the person last week, but this family would like us to consider more per family so that they can get more relatives to the game. They would want us to consider a 10-ticket rule for families. I said I would bring that up, that it would be up to the board's decision on that, if we want to discuss that or not.
I think we should discuss it, because I had some people talk to me about it too. Would there be an option of, and again, we keep changing everything, but adults, allowing adults in, just open, because it's the student body that we have the issues with, right? At sporting events?
Well, we haven't had any issues yet.
I gotta jump in here. No, it's not the students, it's the parents that aren't social distancing. And one of the parents that contacted me on this acknowledged that. They said, no, the parents are not social distancing.
I think it's both.
Yeah, when we had the student sections there, they were close to each other. Did we have some contacts come out of?
Yeah, we did that first one.
Yeah, at the volleyball game we did.
Okay.
6.
And that was one of the frustrations,
I guess we
because
did
there were
that.
6 that were on the list, and there should have been 20 or
Correct.
25 or whatever it should have been. So you have that frustration. I will say that I've had some seniors approach me saying, did you guys consider that, you know, this is our last homecoming and we won't be able to go to the homecoming game if we don't have family members that are on the football team? And I did say yes. I certainly considered that when we were discussing it, but I said it's not popular to say, but it's the same thing as last year's seniors. That was their last prom and they didn't get it. Last year's seniors, that was their last golf season, their last track season, their last. I'm sorry, I can't control all that. Now I can control how we discuss things and what we decide, I suppose. But there just are limitations that occur with this, and we can't expect life to be normal, not until something occurs with this virus that's controllable.
And Aaron, to that effect, I will say that, you know, like Clark, I think was one of the reasons we considered that. They went to just parents, and I remember watching Bearcat TV of that volleyball game. It was just parents at that game, correct? Then I have spoken, I think Roncalli now is just, they're tier 2, I believe.
Yep.
Which is just parents and students, but they will allow a grandparent. But they're not, you know, doing the aunts, uncles, and cousins, if I'm correct. It's just a grandparent is considered the immediate family. So,
if I was convinced that the students could social distance, I would support it. But I go back to that they're not showing that personal responsibility. And it's frustrating for them too, because they get all these mixed messages. They can eat lunch 3 feet apart from each other for 20 minutes, but yet we won't let them sit at a game together. I understand that mixed message, but it comes down to controlling the things that we can control. We kind of need to make them sit together closer at lunch in order to have lunch. We don't have that option. However, we don't have to force them to be close at a volleyball game. They actually can spread out, but they choose not to.
and you know, Aaron, actually as to that, I would throw this out. I'd be willing to come to the school, talk to kids in just the classes, not as an assembly. We don't want to bring 300 in. Take time out, go to each class, explain why we've made these rules with the masks. Let them understand what we're trying to do. At the same time, I honestly think that students could figure out that with this rule, you know, each bring in one foam, you know, the proverbial foam finger, you all spread out. I mean, I actually think students could figure out a way to have fun with this thing, take up more of the bleacher space. We'll be fine with that. Move every 15 minutes. The Joel Shoemaker timeout rule he tried to offer, I think, at our last school board meeting. You know, students could actually have fun with this at a game, and I think that we just have to start thinking in a different way. But nevertheless, it doesn't solve the problem of what the issue was that parent brought up. So I'm just gonna, is there any motions to change the 6-ticket rule?
Could they apply for it? Could they just say, hey, we got some people that are gonna be in town, could we get a few more?
Then everybody would.
I know.
Yeah, who will be in charge of that?
Right.
I mean, that's more work. I'm just gonna, the last meeting, Tom, I think you had mentioned, or Redfield had the 6-ticket.
Yeah.
Well, at the football game, I don't think any of you guys were there. It was like as normal as can be.
That's what I heard.
Student section, they were all huddled together, and I didn't.
Maybe is that just volleyball? I mean, I know that when Adam brought in the list.
Maybe it was.
I don't know.
And it was their homecoming game, so maybe they changed the rules for their homecoming. I don't know.
And then you saw the Clark. I mean, there was very few people at that. Were you announcing that game, Mike?
Yep, and I was at Redfield.
And was it just parents at Clark then?
Parents and players, yeah. No other.
And Clark has already relaxed that now, or are they still?
I haven't heard.
I think it's changing everywhere. All right, if there's no motions, anything else to bring up? All right, motion to adjourn? So move. Thanks, Larry. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion adjourned. Before I just sign off, one thing, if we could just say to everybody that's watching TV, I hope you know that everybody here is trying to do the best by the students and the staff in our community. And I hope that you'll give patience to our staff, to our administration. If you have constructive comments, contact a school board member. But everybody's trying to do the right thing, and nobody will bat 100%. Nobody will bat 1,000. There will be mistakes that are made, whether a kid was masked or not masked, whether a kid was within that close contact group at the volleyball game or not. Remember, we want the students here. We're doing our best to try to make that happen, and that's what everybody's goal is. So please, wake up and wait in the morning, and when you want to have a conversation with our administration, know that they're trying to do the best they can.
I want to add to that superintendent from Burke, they were saying that they've got 40 employees in their school and 8 of them have it. And I don't know if they've closed their doors for a couple of weeks. I'm not sure. I didn't catch the beginning of it. But he said this is such an odd thing in that no matter what you do, there's going to be people. If you go this way, people are upset with you. If you go this way, people are upset with you. There isn't a right answer for it. And he said it really makes it difficult.
All right. Thank you very much. We're adjourned. Jim, you want me to stick around and help you try to write these 2 things up? Sure.